The death of Rugila in 434 left the sons of his brother Mundzuk, Attila, and Bleda in control of the united Hun tribes. At the time of the two brothers' accession, the Hun tribes were bargaining with Eastern Roman Emperor Theodosius II's envoys for the return of several renegades who had taken refuge within the Eastern Roman Empire, possibly Hunnic nobles who disagreed with the brothers' assumption of leadership. The following year, Attila and Bleda met with the imperial legation at Margus, all seated on horseback in the Hunnic manner, and negotiated an advantageous treaty. The Romans agreed to return the fugitives, to double their previous tribute of 350 Roman pounds, 115 kilograms of gold, to open their markets to Hunnish traders, and to pay a ransom of 8 solidi for each Roman taken prisoner by the Huns. The Huns, satisfied with the treaty, decamped from the Roman Empire and returned to their home in the Great Hungarian Plain, perhaps to consolidate and strengthen their empire. Theodosius used this opportunity to strengthen the walls of Constantinople, building the city's first sea wall, and to build up his border defenses along the Danube. The Huns remained out of Roman sight for the next few years while they invaded the Sassanid Empire. They were defeated in Armenia by the Sassanids, abandoned their invasion, and turned their attentions back to Europe. In 440, they reappeared in force on the borders of the Roman Empire, attacking the merchants at the market on the north bank of the Danube that had been established by the Treaty of 435. Crossing the Danube, they laid waste to the cities of Illyricum and forts on the river, including Viminacium, Serbia, a city of Moesia. Their advance began at Margus, where they demanded that the Romans turn over a bishop who had retained property that Attila regarded as his. While the Romans discussed the bishop's fate, he slipped away secretly to the Huns and betrayed the city to them. While the Huns attacked city-states along the Danube, the Vandals captured the western Roman province of Africa and its capital of Carthage. The Romans stripped the Balkan area of forces, sending them to Sicily in order to mount an expedition against the Vandals in Africa. This left Attila and Bleda a clear path through Illyricum into the Balkans, which they invaded in 441. The Hunnish army sacked Margus and Viminacium, and then took Singidunum, Belgrade, and Sirmium. During 442, Theodosius recalled his troops from Sicily and ordered a large issue of new coins to finance operations against the Huns. He believed that he could defeat the Huns and refused the Hunnish king's demands. Attila responded with a campaign in 443. Advancing along the Nisava River, the Huns next took Serdica, Sofia, Philippopolis, Plovdiv. They encountered and destroyed a Roman army outside Constantinople, but were stopped by the double walls of the eastern capital. They defeated a second army near Gallipoli. Theodosius, unable to make effective armed resistance, admitted defeat, sending the Magister Anatolius to negotiate peace terms. The terms were harsher than the previous treaty. The emperor agreed to hand over 6,000 Roman pounds, 2,000 kilograms, of gold as punishment for having disobeyed the terms of the treaty during the invasion. The yearly tribute was tripled, rising to 2,100 Roman pounds, 700 kilograms in gold, and the ransom for each Roman prisoner rose to 12 solidi. Their demands were met for a time, and the Hun kings withdrew into the interior of their empire. Bleda died following the Huns' withdrawal from Byzantium, probably around 445. Attila then took the throne for himself, becoming the sole ruler of the Huns. In 447, Attila again rode south into the Eastern Roman Empire through Moesia. The Huns were left unopposed and rampaged through the Balkans as far as Thermopylae, Greece. The Battle of Utus in 447 AD was a significant confrontation in the string of military conflicts between the Eastern Roman Empire and the invading Hunnic forces under the leadership of Attila the Hun. This battle was part of Attila's broader strategy to expand his influence and control over the territories bordering the Roman Empire. Theodosius II ordered Arnegisclus, Aspar, and Ariobindus to march out and meet Attila on the river Vid in modern Bulgaria. Theodosius, with no other options, had reasoned it necessary to conduct a set-piece battle, which was atypical of the usual strategy. Under these three commanders were the combined forces of the Presental army, the emperor's personal army, Thracian and Illyrian field armies, totaling on paper about 71,232 men, and likely whatever local forces they could meet en route. The Romans were, according to most modern historians, defeated. This battle would be the event that inaugurated Attila's infamous legacy. The combined Roman field armies were annihilated, with Arnegisclus killed in battle. Arnegisclus's horse was killed, and he fought on foot until he was cut down. The defeat was so catastrophic that in 478, after 30 years of recovery, the Thracian army still numbered less than half its former strength. Marcianople, Varna, fell immediately to the Huns, who destroyed it. The city then lay desolate until Emperor Justinian restored it 100 years later. Even worse, Constantinople, the capital of the eastern half of the Roman Empire, was especially vulnerable to attack by the Huns, as its walls had been ruined during an earthquake in January 447, and its population had suffered from an ensuing plague. However, the Praetorian prefect of the East, Constantinus, managed to repair the walls in just 2 months by mobilizing the city's manpower with the help of the circus factions. These hasty repairs, combined with the urgent transfer of a body of Azorean soldiers into the city, plus the heavy losses incurred by the Huns' army in the Battle of Utus, forced Attila to abandon any thought of besieging the capital. Instead, Attila marched south and laid waste the now defenseless Balkan provinces, including Illyricum, Thrace, Moesia, Scythia, and both provinces of Roman Dacia, until he was turned back at Thermopylae. Callinicus of Rufinianae wrote in his Life of St. Hypatius, who was still living in Thrace at the time, that more than 100 cities were captured, Constantinople almost came into danger, and most men fled from it, although this was probably exaggerated. Peace was only restored when a treaty was signed a year later in 448. By this treaty, Theodosius II, the Eastern Emperor, agreed to pay Attila a tribute of 6,000 of gold up front and 2,100 annually. Additionally, a no-man's land in the Roman territory was created. This extended 300 miles from Singidunum, Belgrade, to Novae, Fishtov, with a depth of 100 miles or 5 days' journey south of the Danube, and functioned as a buffer zone.